Okay, let's continue. So, while it's okay to enjoy your food. You're supposed to enjoy your food, because otherwise how can it be good for you if you're not enjoying it? But to make a cult of it, that's a bit weird. Right, so we just had this important revelation. You're alone, you're scared, but the bank is all prepared, no one's gloomy or complaining while the flatware is entertaining, we tell jokes, we do tricks, yeah, so you have that moment and then you lose it again. It's all in perfect taste that you can bet. Again, taste, all about tasting. You can bet. Come on, lift your glass. You have won your own free pass. Who is it? Who says, oh, you just won a free pass? Who says it?
Who says it?
Who says it?
Well, the only thing I can say, I don't know, but it's interesting to look at all the previous symbols about games and winning. It seems that being the winner is a very important thing. If you are the winner, then you've won your own free pass. Pass to where? Pass to where you should forget about all hope if you are to enter it.
Yeah, maybe. So you have won your free pass is something that these guys tell you. Yeah.
These guys?
Or somebody who wants you to enter the land of fools. So first they give you a free pass, then they get what they want from you. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, you have just won a free trial, a free pass. You have won it, it's free. Take it, take it. How can you say no? No way you can say no. Then you enter. And the doors are always wide open and bright and shiny, but you can only enter, you can't leave. Yeah? Okay. Lift your glass, you have won your own free pass to be our guest. If you're stressed, it's fine dining we suggest. Again, that's the idea. If you feel bad, what do? Do you sit and reflect, or do you go for a walk? Do you meditate or something? No, have some food. That's our answer. If you're stressed, it's fine dining we suggest.
Yeah, and again, as you said, there's nothing bad about eating something if you feel stressed. It's sometimes, for some people, it transforms into a sort of food addiction. And some people, well, yes, they eat something, they are a bit, they cheer up a bit, and then they are capable of reflecting on their situation, on something that makes them sad, in a better and a more balanced way.
If your dining is not an end in itself, then yeah, because we are very chemical creatures on this planet. We do respond to chemistry a lot, and food is a very big example, very obvious example. So yes, it's like one of my favorite quotations from Kipling. I think it's from Kim. It's like, never talk to a white man before he's eaten. So if the white man is hungry, don't even talk to him. He won't be sensible. Which is ironic. It's kind of funny. At the same time, it's true. Because most people just can't control their chemistry. They They can't control themselves. Like if they're hungry, they get angry. Not because they're evil or just because they're hungry. They eat something, they feel better, and there's a magical transformation. They're as nice as they can be. So on one, again, it's like an easy way. Instead of trying to understand what is happening to you, why do you feel angry or sad or stressed, and dealing with the root, with the cause, you do with like symptoms. It's the same with medicine. The medicine today, which mainly looks at symptoms and cures symptoms rather than going to the cause.
Underlying cause, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because it's the way of thinking, so it repeats on different in different areas. Yeah, so it's easier to have something to eat and to watch a comedy than to stop and try to see what is happening to you. It's easier to take a pill than to stop and to try to understand what is happening to you. It's an easy way, it's a lazy way. So of course it's pleasant, it's easy.
And it's also
something
that is something that is often explained by the fact we are scared, we feel scared. Not only because we are more skeptical to outside influences that might tell us if you're stressed, then the food is the answer. But also because it seems that when we are stressed out and scared, we are much more willing to try all the rituals that might be meaningless and even dangerous. So, for example, you might remember stronger security measures at many airports in the world, which experts say do not amount to anything. They don't make us more secure.
It's classic.
But at least they provide an illusion of security.
It's classical. It's a classical trinity, what they call problem, reaction, solution. You might have heard of it. So first you create a problem. It might not be a real problem. Might be real, might not be real. It doesn't matter. The thing is, people believe it's real. Then you wait for the reaction. The reaction is obvious. Everybody panics. Then you have your solution. You can do what you like to people. You can make them all wear face masks, even though it's useless. You can do any source of security, even if it's really exceeding. Like now we have it in schools, where you never had this kind of security level at schools. Oh no, what about terrorists? What if they have a bomb at school? So now schools are like prisons more than ever. Everybody's okay with that. So the same is going to happen after the pandemic. All those measures which are really weird and maybe in many ways useless, or at least if the situation improves, they would be useless, but they will remain, same as with the security at schools, which gets worse and worse, stronger. Even people who work at security at schools, they say it's like a prison. They say, not school kids, the security people. So yeah, okay. So it's fine dining. We suggest digest. It's fine dining. We digest. So again, that's where you put your attention to. That's the level of thinking that you're at.
System.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the body level. Yeah, that guy Gaston is all about being muscular, has no brains at all. The beast is all about being strong and big and strong. the women having round bits of body. Problem, have some food. Yeah, and everybody watches it, everybody knows it, everybody enjoys it. Not because it's evil, but because it is already a big part of the culture. Because if you show it to somebody who's not in that culture, like you maybe, they look at it and they say, well, how can you find it entertaining? It's just meaningless. It's nice, but it's kind of stupid. How can you enjoy it if you look at it a little bit from outside? But if it's a part of your culture, then there's nothing wrong with it. You believe that food is big and important, and they show you lots of food. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and I think we've been discussing that with you already, and I also had a phone call yesterday from one of my elder colleagues, and she also mentioned that it seems that for many it's a question of belonging to belong, and in order to belong you have to conform to certain rules, one of which might go like if you're stressed, then fine dining is the answer, or it might be, okay, if you are part of us, if you are one of us, you have to love Disney movies, including this one. Or it might be, if you are one of us, you have to smoke, or you have to take drugs or something. So
well, smoking is definitely a part of it, because if you ask people, then very few smoke because they want to smoke. Everybody says, well, I started doing it because everybody else was doing it. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was reading something about teaching and learning foreign languages, and the writer made an interesting remark, which might be true. He says that sometimes our students, our English language students, for example, have problems with pronunciation, and somehow further investigation has shown that some of them are pretty much capable of producing the sounds.
Everybody's capable
more or
of
less
that.
resemble.
Yes, I say it's always in the mind. It's always in the mind only. We all can produce all sorts of sounds. Maybe we need some practice in the sense of muscles, developing muscles, but really intonation is something that anybody can do. It's in the mind. It's just in the head. Yeah. Okay.
It's in the mind, and his idea was that maybe they don't do this because the rest of the class are unable to produce.
Well,
good
yeah,
sounds,
you don't want to show off. You don't want to show
They don't
off.
want to show off. They want to. It's like someone getting bad marks because he doesn't want to be
better than somebody else. Yeah, it's a big part. It's a big part of human psyche. People, we all do it. I do it. Maybe you do it too. I don't know. We all do it all the time. We are not doing our best because we are kind of afraid to be the best. It's like a big responsibility, and it's like everybody's looking at you, and it's like, who do you think you are to be better than us? Yeah. Okay. So. Okay, let's continue. Be our guest, be our guest, be our guest. Life is so unnerving. It's like, oh, yeah, life is so unnerving. Oh, life is complicated. But no, life is so unnerving for a servant who's not serving. So coming back to another subject, which is servants. Only live to serve. Life is unnerving for a servant who's not serving. So if you're a servant, it's like a mark on your face. You can be nothing else. You're not a person, you're a servant. 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 Yeah? He's not whole without a soul. So what it says that a servant has not a soul. It depends on how you break the phrase, yeah? So you can say without a soul to wait upon. But you could phrase it another way, with no one to wait upon. But they use the word soul and the negative, and when they're talking about a servant. So really when you're listening, where would it be? Just before that bit. Is it here? Looks good. Somewhere. How do they say it?
Those good old days when...
Good old days.
For a servant who's not serving, he's not whole without a soul to wait upon.
So you see, even the way they sing it, without a soul, could be to wait upon, or could be a servant. He's not whole without a soul. So again, a servant is not a complete person, not even a person, a thing, has no soul. And of course it's not you. You are the beautiful girl at the table. You're not a servant. You're perfect. You're a beauty. Yeah. So really, it's a bit distressing what they're saying. Either you decide they're like little evil spirits, little demons, they have no soul, and they kind of lure you into this madness, or they say that actual servants, people, are not people but things, and you should not even treat them like people because they don't have a soul. And that's important.
And they're not really complete unless they serve.
Yeah,
That's
unless
the
they
thing,
serve,
they
and
are-
even if they serve,
they
if
are
they don't have a
grateful.
soul, even if they serve, if they don't have a soul, they will always be not whole. Yeah, because that's a very important subject, having a soul. Like, people try to argue whether animals have a soul, whether planets have a soul. But maybe we should start with people. Maybe we should start with remembering that people have souls, or rather, people are souls. It's a bit weird if you think about it. What do you think? Who do you think you are if you say I have a soul? Then you're not a soul. Then you're something different. And what is a soul which you have? I have a body, I have a mind, I have a soul, maybe consciousness. I have consciousness. We don't really say I have consciousness, we just say I'm sentient. So maybe you are consciousness. Soul is something different. Oh, okay. Those good old days when we were useful. Suddenly those good old days are gone. 10 years we've been rusting, needing so much more than dusting, needing exercise, a chance to use our skills. Most day we just lay around the castle, flabby, fat and lazy. You walked in and, oops, a daisy.
Yeah. Oops is a very French way of saying things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's basically given a bit of perspective. So it's funny because on one hand they sort of look at the servants, but at the same time all they see in their feelings is that, oh no, we need to serve, we need to serve. That's all they're worried about. Yeah, he walked in and oops a daisy. So we are not happy because we have a company, but because we have a master, a mistress. And again, on one hand, the cartoon, the film and other films show you that you are better than other people, like this lady. At the same time, it tells you that you can only be happy if you have a master. Yeah, so it's really tricky what it does to you. Yeah, shows you all this glamour, and I'm using the word glamour in the original meaning. Glamour is like I think it's a Scottish word actually. A glamour, like a fairy glamour, something that looks cool, but really it's an illusion, like gold which turns into leaves in the morning. That's glamour. Or a lady who looks beautiful but turns out to be a horrible hag. That's glamour. So this is glamour. How do you say glamour in Russian? What's the word for glamour in Russian? Something that looks nice, and the evil spirits, demons, give it to you, but then it turns out that it was very bad for you. You think it's good for you? How do you call it in Russian? What's the word?
I don't know.
It's something that... do you know the Lord of the Rings?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
So you see, I'm not part of the culture. I'm very much uncultured.
Well, maybe it's a good thing, because it always leaves its print, or when you read it, when you take it in, it becomes a part of your mindscape. Either way, one way or another. Well, maybe it's good to have a cleaner inner space, maybe. Okay.
Yeah, but you mentioned the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, because there was a character, Gollum, who had that magic ring. He was addicted to it, even though it made him feel really bad. And that's how he called it, my precious.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the word which you can use. So glamour, that's the world of glamour that she enters. And it's, again, it's funny because it's a bit inverted. It has a double bottom. On one hand, the glamour is in the beast being really nice and the ugly palace turning out to be a beautiful place in the end. At the same time, it's this beautiful, bright, colorful thing is colorful things which are not really good for you. So it's double glamour in a way. Okay. So they're flabby, fat and lazy, just waiting for her to come. Then they activate, because they're meaningless without someone else. It's a guest, sakes alive. Well, I'll be blessed. Interesting turn of phrase. What is sakes alive? Okay. Wine's been poured, and thank the Lord, I've had napkins freshly pressed.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the two things rhyme. I'll be blessed and freshly pressed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about the napkins. And that's what we thank the Lord for.
And Lord doesn't rhyme.
And Lord doesn't rhyme.
So everything else is rhyming. Blessed, pressed, dessert, tea, me, chewing, brewing. But Lord does not rhyme, because they don't really have Lord in that place. And again, thank the Lord, I've had napkins freshly pressed. Seriously. So we talk about wine being poured, and it's not the churchy wine, which is like holy wine, obviously. as we can see from the picture. Yeah.
And also, it's not the wine that is sometimes poured when they're celebrating, when we have a company of friends, because they are not a company of friends, they are the servants, and she still is all alone, sitting there. She might drink a glass of wine, she might drink 10 bottles of wine, but that doesn't change anything, because the important part of celebration is that you have someone to share wine, conversation with, and very often drinking wine is the least important part of celebrating something. And just being there, and again, being there, again, the glamour thing you mentioned, it's very often at the parties that we get together and there's some wine. It's often that we tell jokes and there's a sort of an entertainment. But these are real people who get together. These are real jokes that are funny. There's some real food that is not all plastic. And there might be some wine. There might be no wine, depending on what party it is. But it's all real, instead of this glamorous thing that is happening here, which turns out to be, which looks glamorous on the outside and turns out to be empty inside.
Yeah, and if you just look at this image we have here with the bottles of, let's say, champagne, what we have in the background, soap bubbles, because we have that scene with the teapot washing things here. Yeah, so that's here, washing, they're washing, and that's soap bubbles. Then what does it do, again visually? So we have soap, mix it with champagne, one thing, yeah. So we have bubbles in champagne, but that's not the bubbles from champagne, it's soap bubbles, one thing. And second thing, bubbles, soap bubbles are a very old symbol, you know? You might find it on many pictures, many paintings. Yeah, it's something empty, something that looks nice, but it just disappears in a second. Something illusory. So usually if you see a bubble like that in a painting, it's to reflect life. Life as a soap bubble, which is nice and shiny, and then it just bursts in a second. So we have this here. Again, you may say, oh, well, it's just for pretty looks. Why would they do it? Anyway, how do you have washing when nobody's eaten yet? The girl hasn't eaten anything, but they're washing. What are they washing? I don't know. But they do have a lot of bubbles, which are like illusion, something pretty, but not substantial. And it drifts right into the celebration. So it's a very big hint, just visually. Yeah, because you could have it separately. Okay, they're doing some washing in the background, but why would it drift into your dining room? Is that something that you normally see? You have a big dinner and then suddenly everything is in soap bubbles from the kitchen? Really? I don't think so. So again, we have these little hints, because maybe, well, it looks like there's a rule that they have to tell you what they're doing. They have to show you what they're doing. But it's your problem if you don't notice it. It's like fine print. It's your problem if you don't read the fine print, if you don't pay attention to like details. Because really, it's not just detail, it's not logical to have soap bubbles in your food. Yeah? Okay. Okay. And of course, mentioning the Lord. We know you're not supposed to mention Lord unless you're praying. You're not supposed to do it. And then again, so God, Lord, becomes something that you mention in passing. So your loneliness, your inner state is something you mention in passing. God is something you mention in passing, but food, oh, you can talk about it for hours and hours and make a whole show of it. That's the kind of image that we have here. With dessert, she will want tea. My dear, that's fine with me. Okay, we decide she wants tea. She will want tea because I say so. That's fine with me. While the cubs do their soft shooing, I don't know why shooing, no idea. Or something soft, maybe deceitful, like I sunned it with wild, these soft, deceitful smiles. And maybe that's something. I'll be bubbling, I'll be brewing, I'll get warm, piping hot. Heaven's sakes, is that a spot? So again, I'll be bubbling, bubbles, making bubbles. Maybe these bubbles which are just bursting. Maybe bubbling, like bubbling in the sense of chatting, some nonsense. On and on and on, so there's never time to stop and think. I'll be brewing, plants. Of course, if that's the teapot is saying it, then it can be literal. Bubbling, then brewing. Although it should be, it should be a kettle which is bubbling and a teapot which is brewing, technically. As a happy teapot. But still, I'll get warm, piping hot. Is that about these ladies getting hot? Maybe. Heaven's sakes, is that a spot? So again they mention like heaven, but again it's just something meaningless, just emotional. They don't mean heaven when they say heaven, they don't mean Lord when they say Lord. Heaven's sake, is that a spot? Well spotted. So there's a spot after she gets hot. So her nature has a spot on it. Maybe she did something that they were not supposed to do. So there's a spot on your consciousness, conscience. Maybe. Clean it up. We want the company impressed. So even if you have this glamour, it has to be perfect, because otherwise it might not work. That's the whole idea. Yeah. But if there's glamour, it has to be perfect. If there's a spot, you hide it. There are always spots because it's an illusion. It's not a real thing. If you look closer, you will always see little spots. Yeah. It's like our reality we experience, it seems to be kind of smooth and continuous, but if you really pay attention, you may notice there are little seams, like S-E-A-M, seam, like gaps between frames when we are just not here. But since we are only aware when we are here, usually we don't notice the time when we are not here. it's not continuous, it's not smooth. There are spots, but if you want your illusion to work, you do something, anything, so that people don't notice it. There's a spot, you clean it up, you want the company impressed. We've got a lot to do. Is it 1 lamp or 2 for you, our guest? Yeah, comment?
So it's not only about sugar.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about something that they sometimes call a sugar pill. Is it a sugar pill?
Well, I don't know. Maybe not really.
Maybe not, because it's not. It doesn't really cure. It doesn't really cure all the trouble.
But yeah, again, we have all those cakes, and then we talk about 1 lump or 2. And then again, your guest, all we think is whether you need 1 lump of sugar or 2. That's most important thing to talk about.
And it's also interesting because in normal circumstances, if you have a cup of tea, you might want a lemon in it, you might want sugar in it, you might want milk in your tea. But usually you are given a choice, and there's some milk, there's some sugar, there's some lemon, but it's you who chooses and who pours maybe some milk into your tea, or some tea into your milk, or it's you who take a lump of sugar, or 2 lumps of sugar, or 3 lumps of sugar, whatever.
Well, no, if she's a servant, she might ask you, because they want to do everything for you.
She seems to be not allowed to do her own thinking, and she's not even allowed to, as you say, she's not allowed to eat. And now that she wants to drink something, tea, she's not allowed.
She doesn't want to drink tea. That's what the teapot says. She will want tea. I say so. And she adds, "Fine with me."
For you, I guess. She's our guest.
So if you just look at her face, you can see she's just totally hypnotized. Like here, she has very big eyes, like looking straight on. Because you have lots of things which are bright and which are flashing before your eyes. Then you get hypnotized. That's how advertisement works. I mean, you go to some website which sells something, then in most cases you just see some flashing advertisement there. It does something to your brain. It does. So that's what happens to her. All these bright flashing things before her eyes, and
yeah, or like things in supermarkets. We mentioned supermarkets already, where there's fine packaging, while the contents you are not really sure. You only choose because you like that packaging over that piece of packaging.
Well, sometimes, not necessarily.
Right. Sometimes, not necessarily.
But it does play a big
might be
role.
empty for all you know.
Well, sometimes you choose it because sometimes you choose it maybe because you look at the at what the back says, what it says on the back. But yeah, very often people choose something just because they know it from an advertisement, because it's familiar, or because it has a nice, attractive image on it. So the same is here. Okay. We want the company impressed. So now the girl is not a human; she's a company.
Yeah, it's a company, and again. She's not really allowed to make any choice in the film. And again, the customer who arrives at the supermarket, does he or she have to make his own free choice, or are these packaging and things that are being advertised basically?
Of course, you can make your
him or her
choice.
decide?
Of course, you can make your choice. All you need to do is to be aware of what you're doing, not to grab the first thing you see. Yeah, but to stop to look at what is there, to study it, and then make your decision. Why not?
Yeah, I mean that's how you're supposed to behave if you are smart enough, if you have time, or if you have given it a thought. But the supermarket thing only works because we do not reflect on it. We just go the easy way.
Well, yeah, again, the easy way. But it doesn't have to be that. All you need to do is to be aware of what you're doing. Let's see. A very simple answer, which works every time. If you know what you're doing, then whatever you do is good for you. Even if it's stupid, even if you make a mistake, it's your mistake, it's your stupid thing. It might not be stupid for you, it might look stupid for somebody else. If you know what you're doing, no, not in the sense of knowledge, but in the sense of being aware, because we never know to the end, we never know anything fully, but we have our awareness, our intuition. If that's what you're doing, then it will be good for you, even if it ends up seemingly bad. It doesn't matter. Okay, so she becomes a company. Again, people are not people. People are not humans. People are things. People are not human beings. People are a company, a servant. It's all a business structure. I mean, if you know how the capital letter name turns into a company. Do you know? Heard of it?
No.
So if you pay attention to your documents with your name on them, then your name is not really your name there. If it's written all in capital letters, it's not your name. It's the name of a company, which has the same name as you. You see? So your name, your human name, has the first capital letter and then small letters. That's the normal way of writing a name. It's a human name. But if you're human, then nobody can ever force anything on you. There's no law over a human being, because human being is infinite. Yeah? Human being is infinite. You can't come around and say, I'm your boss. Who are you to be my boss? I'm human, you're human, we are equal in that sense. You're a soul, I'm a soul. Even if I'm a servant, we are equal. But if you agree to be a company, which you do if you accept a document which has your name in capital letters, if you accept it, then automatically you accept being a company. And if you're a company, then law can do what it has to do to you. There's only human law which can affect you if you're a company. There's only, let's say, God's law. If you don't like the word God, you may use some other word, high law, if you're a human being. Yeah? So one human being can only affect another human being if they believe, if they accept they're not human beings but companies. So now she's a company here. Again, she's not a human being. Okay, she's our guest, be our guest. Very, very repeating again. And again, the word guest. The word guest. It's funny how we have word guest, like you come to me, you're my guest, be my guest, I'm happy to see you. And how they use the word guest in restaurants when it's not a guest, when it's a customer. So again, the word guest is a little bit like deceiving. Guest. Chance come a stranger. Like ghost, actually. You see? Hostess, stranger, enemy. Guester. A person entertaining for pay is from late 13th century. Be my guest, like go ahead, very late 1955. So a guest is like a ghost, really. So when they say be our guest, do they mean a guest like a guest or like a guest in a restaurant? We do something for you, but not because we want to make you happy, because you will pay us or somebody will pay us for it.
And again, when we invite guests, we do want them to be happy, and we invite them because we like them. We like them as people. Here, it doesn't really matter. And again, you treat the person as a customer, as it might be just a dummy sitting in that person's place.
Exactly.
If the dummy can eat and drink, why not?
You're paid for it, so you don't care.
Yeah, it's like a customer, or better still, a consumer. You just consume.
So consumer is a brilliant word. It's really horrible, but at the same time it's brilliant because it's like true. Oh dear. Oh dear. So be our guest. Again, there's a double meaning, and if you accept it and you think they mean guest as in friend, guest, and you accept it, and in the end they tell you, well, actually we meant guest as in a restaurant guest, so now you have to pay us. Yeah, you get your entertainment, now you pay us with your soul, maybe, I don't know. Our command is your request. Our command is your request. Our command is your request. Not your request is our command, but our command is your request. The same as we said, she doesn't really have a choice.
No, she doesn't.
Same here. Our command stands in the first place. So we are commanding.
And she hasn't really requested anything. She's been unable to request anything, but she just sees things that are poured on her.
Without being able to actually get it. Oh, it's 10 years since we had anybody here. Again, repeating about 10 years. We're obsessed with your meal. So, okay. Very nice. Again, where do you put your obsession? Food again. Your meal. Is that even normal? To be obsessed with somebody else's meal? Not even your own?
And again, it reminds us of many other obsessions we might have. So it's a meal, not even your own meal, for some who are only servants and who are non-existent unless they serve some food. But these obsessions, of course, being obsessions, mean that we attach too much meaning to something that doesn't really matter, that doesn't really that isn't really worth that much meaning. Food is nice, and we can't survive unless we have some food.
Unless you're really spiritual and you're one of those people who can feed on energy directly. There are some people like that, but yeah, you need some training. Normally, we do need food.
Yeah, and again, some of us are might be obsessed about something else. We might benefit from using a car, but some get really obsessed with cars, some get really obsessed with clothing, and so on and so forth. And the word obsession is, I think, a very good definition of
what is
what it amounts,
happening.
what's happening, what it amounts to.
Because obsession is not normal, yeah? If you're
It
obsessed,
isn't.
means, again, you're not thinking. Obsessed, possessed.
Yes, you're possessed by an outside force. You are possessed by a thing, because food is about things, clothing is about things, cars are about things, and so on.
And
So it's the
obviously-
thing that
Obviously,
owns you.
when they say we're obsessed, as you listen to it, you're obsessed too. Because that's the idea, the image that your mind gets, and the idea is being obsessed with a meal, with food. That's the message they get. It doesn't matter if they or I or you, for your mind, it's all the same. The image, the idea stuck in there, being obsessed with a meal. Wow, it's bright, it's good. It's happy, it's a song. Yeah. Okay. With your meal, with your ease. Yes, indeed, we aim to please. So if somebody aims to please, is that good news?
Interestingly enough, someone who aims to please is normally not very pleasant. In fact, what makes it all unattractive in many restaurants is that they aim to please and please and please, and the end result is that they get their customers, their consumers, angry or irritated because we don't really. Many of us
you
don't
should
really
you
want
should watch
someone-
the Dirty Fork sketch if you haven't seen it. Have you seen the Dirty Fork sketch?
The Dirty Fork.
Aye.
Oh,
Dirty Fork. That's what you can do for your homework.
okay.
Monty
Dirty
Python,
Fork,
Dirty
okay.
Fork. You'll find it is just like the first thing. A restaurant sketch.
Okay.
Oh, that's all the same. Okay. Right. So then it gets really creepy. We had a hint when this guy, what's his name, when he was buried, when he was lying in a coffin made of a pie, a food coffin in the beginning, very openly. Yeah. Remember? So he's blue. Blue is not a healthy color in this context. Blue is a happy color if you're Indian. If you're Krishna, then it's happy. If you're in Western culture, blue means you're dead. And he's blue. And he's cremated, basically. And his dead body is taken away. Literally. It's really creepy. You pause, you look at the details, it gets really, really creepy. So we had our hint before. Now it gets really more open as it gets to the end of the song. It gets even worse. So we aim to please while the candlelight's still glowing. So we have candles. Then you say, well, there's no electricity in the castle, of course we have candles, but the word is still. So what happens when the candlelight is out? And it's glowing. It's not bright. Yeah? And the idea of while the candlelight's still glowing, then you have the idea of a candle going out, we have the idea of time going out, because candles were used to mark time. Yeah, your time's running out, your candle is about to... Let us help you, we'll keep going, course by course, one by one. So you have very little time. Well, it could be a big candle, but still, while it's still glowing, means it will go out soon. So what do you do? How do you use your time? There's no time for you to pause and to do anything meaningful, because they will keep going course by course, one by one, again, more and more and more. There will be no time for you to stop and contemplate. Even though now you know that your time is running short. Yeah? Your time is running short, but there's nothing you can do. Because you'll still get distracted. You can't free yourself from it unless you make an effort. You have to make an effort. Till you shout, "Enough, I'm done." Wow. Till you die. "I'm done" means you're dead. "I'm done" means you're dead. They feed you till you're starved to death. Yeah, and then the candlelight's still glowing. You may think about candles connected with like life and death. Till you shout, "Enough, I'm done. Stop it, please." But it's too late. You're already done. And then we'll sing you off to sleep. You know how they sing when somebody dies? Sleep like eternal sleep, because you're done, you're dead. They have won. As you digest, that's a very intellectual business, digesting. Yeah. On one hand, it's like all you can do is digest again, being like an animal. Yeah. So that's the most intellectual thing you can do is digesting. Or after it's finished, after this cabaret is over, then you realize what they've done to you when you're dead, when you're done. Then you digest like, you start to actually analyzing it, but it's too late. How did I get here? How could that happen to me? You're digesting not the food, but what happened to you. It's really, really creepy. Those last lines, "While the candlelight's still glowing, let us help you. We'll keep going, course by course, one by one, till you shout, 'Enough, I'm done!'" You have to shout. You can't just say. You have to shout, because it's too much for you. And then never listen anyway. And then we'll sing you off to sleep as you digest. Or maybe as somebody digests you, equally. Tonight, you'll prop your feet up. In other words, you'll be dead. In the night, you'll be dead. You have your feet up, belly up, you know. But for now, let's eat up. Eat up. What a beautiful phrase, eh? What are you gonna do? I'm gonna eat up. Be our guest, be our guest, be our guest. Please, be our guest. So, do you say yes to the generous offer? Comments?
Well, I don't.
Comments? Well, yeah, on one hand it's like a normal reaction. I guess people probably eat a bit more than usual during this isolation, because that's like an easy way of entertaining oneself. But to be obsessed with it, like Oh, look, that's a picture of my porridge. I had some nice porridge for breakfast. I want to share it with you. Oh, share the porridge? No, share the picture of my morning porridge. Oh, very interesting, thank you. So really, the song, the cartoon, it's quite creepy. If you pay attention. But it could only work because the ground is prepared. Because we are ready to go into it, to see it.
We are ready to be their guests.
What do they have on menu?
Oh, that's a very intellectual book she's reading. The menu.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because in the beginning we see she's like, oh, I have books, I'm so intellectual, I'm only interested in stories and books and being intelligent. And how does it end? Well, it doesn't really end here, obviously, but she does get into a big library. The Beast shows her the big library, but we don't really see her reading books, I think. Well, she says she's intellectual and she's above all that simple, hard-working life. But really, she's not different.
No, she's...
Even though she's all in white. Okay, more comments?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, then we can finish. So be careful with what you're eating. Because what we put in is... Maybe it's not important. Maybe if you're advanced enough, then it doesn't matter what kind of diet you have, but it's not what you eat, it's again, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Yeah? If you only think about your food, if you only get distracted by this bright picture and bursting bubbles, then bursting soap bubbles is what you'll get in the end. So it's a very good cartoon, a very good song in the sense of that it makes you reflect, it makes you alarmed if you look at it. If you don't just look at it, but if you see it. You can see how that guy who is actually a clock, alarm clock, how he is generally against it, against this cabaret, but in the end he too gets into it. So he is like time, yeah. So and he is mocked all the time, like, oh, you have plenty of time. It doesn't matter what happens to your time, because you get entertained. It's funny. So, well, really, the candle is also like life, because the candles go out. So, technically, they should remind you of the course of time, how time goes with clock, how time goes in candle.
Also, one thing that I'm reminded of is this famous kill the time in Alice.
Yeah, so they kill time here when they put him in pudding.
Yeah. And someone, is it the Duchess, who says to Alice,
They burn time. They burn time. Well, I think it was the Mad Tea Party. Because yes. That's the idea, how they got stuck there. They offended time. And now they are bound to have this endless tea party.
Yeah, and it's interesting that these two symbols can be readily combined. A mad party here
Mm-hmm.
and a mad tea party in
Mm-hmm.
Lewis Carroll's one.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, of course, he.
Yeah, and another
doesn't seem to
similarity
be-
that neither Alice nor this girl get food to eat or drink to drink. They offered and offered and offered, but they never get anything.
Yeah. And it's like the show must go on, which it does here, which it does in the rest of the world, unless we are stopped by this coronavirus and suddenly understand that it's not all about shows, but it raises some serious questions. And again, if we can reflect on it, I can't, but if you can reflect on it, then probably the coronavirus is a blessing rather than a curse.
Well, everything is a blessing if you can take it, you know?
Yes.
Whatever is happening is a blessing if you can take it, if you remain happy. Yeah, like in that psalm we read the last time, you're supposed to be happy. And the circumstances don't matter if you believe in like God. If you believe that what is happening is happening under God's, spirits, universes, the forces, it doesn't matter how you call it, fairies, supervision, then how can you be not happy? You know that whatever is happening is good for you in the end, even if it's not nice at the moment. I mean, if you have cats, like pets, well, then you know what it's like, how you can't explain to your cats why you're doing what you're doing, something that may not look or feel good to them, but what you have to do.
May not please them.
Yeah, but you have to do it. You just can't explain it to them, but you know it's for their best. So that's the same with us and with, let's say, God, for the lack of a more politically correct word. Yeah, but it's when you are aware, again, when you're aware. So the candle and the clock should kind of ring a bell, and she's a bell, but she doesn't ring a bell, because ultimately, if you think about the beast, it's about his time, because he has limited time to turn back into a human. In that sense, it's good, but it's better in the Russian version, because you don't have all these silly things in between. And I don't really remember if he has that limited time in the cartoon, sort of limited. So again, we, each of us has to turn into human before the clock stops ticking. So candle and the clock refer to the beast, they're his servants, and they have to remind him, or us as a beast, that you don't have eternity to become human. Yeah, you only have very limited time to become human in this life. If you don't do it, then sorry, it's too late. You don't have eternity. What you must do, you must do now. But then again, you have all that destruction around you, all those soap bubbles distracting you, killing time, literally. Yeah. Okay. Is that it? How do you do you stop showing screen? Okay. Where is it? How do you stop showing screen? Anyway, let's finish